Thank you. Please be seated. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and is part of public record, so anything you say or do here will be part of public record. Since the last Commissioners' meeting, there are 2 times that at least Commissioner Eggleston and I were in the same room together. Well, one wasn't a room. On December 18th, we were visiting the Cornfield 500 place, which was very much not indoors. And then on the 21st, we had a meeting with Representative Rapp. No decisions by any means were made at either of those meetings. And then this afternoon, I may as well announce now, we will hopefully be passing the tax anticipation note for 2019 as part of today's agenda, and then we will all meet afterwards to sign the document with the attorney. At this time, I'll ask if there were any bids for the solicitor.
We have received 1. Would you please pass this to Commissioner Kenneth?
The bid is from attorney Nathaniel J. Schmidt and delivered today by the appointed time. Request for qualifications. Been in Warren since 2015. He's worked with many of the offices within the county. Propose an offer of services as solicitor of the county at an hourly rate of $150 at current standard rate for all work. Confirm my ability to comply with Pennsylvania rules of professional conduct, which was identified in the RFQ. The terms are also within this letter. And it is ready to be signed for acceptance, if we so choose. Either of the commissioners like to review it?
I'll review it later.
Okay. Thank you. There's no cause for public hearing at this time. If there's anything that's on the agenda that the public would like to bring before the commissioners, now would be the time to raise it. Hearing none, we will move on. On the agenda today, we have appointment of Ken McCorrison as Public Safety Director, the tax anticipation note authorization, a key bank resolution, Children and Youth Service fee schedule for 2019, authorization for an EIP Phase 2, an agreement with Tyler Technologies, an appointment to the Redevelopment Task Force as well as Conservation District, and certification of funds, budget, and then if the commissioners would like to engage Attorney Schmidt at this meeting, we could do that at the end, at least to get us through the stopgap until the first meeting when he could actually be appointed as solicitor. Is that something that the board would like to consider today, or wait?
I would rather wait.
Okay. Anything else to go on the agenda? Have you reviewed the December 12th and December 19th meeting minutes? Do they meet with your approval?
Yes.
Commissioner Morrison?
Yes.
Fiscal report.
You have the fiscal report in front of you. 2.3 is in the general fund, about 200 is maintained in the Erie account. The only 2 notes on that is the last year's number did not have payroll in it. That's why it's a little higher than this year. And then the healthcare came in about half that estimate this week. We just got it this morning, so about $31,000. Other than that, that's all I have for this particular item.
Do you have another copy of that?
Yeah, we didn't get one.
Oh, no. I don't, but I'd be happy to pass this down to each of you. Sorry about that.
While the commissioners are reviewing the fiscal report, I didn't notice that Attorney Schmidt was in the house. Attorney, did you want to say anything?
No, I'm just here to answer any questions.
Very good. Since he's available, do the commissioners have any questions? Very good. Thank you. Any questions for the fiscal director regarding the fiscal report? Hearing none, I'll move on to the citation. It's with mixed feelings that I read the citation. Public Safety Director Todd Lake has moved on to another position, and I wanted to honor him in some way, and I thought that writing a citation and presenting it at this public meeting would be the most fitting thing that we could do. So with mixed emotions, of course, because I've now worked with Todd for 3 years and been very pleased with his leadership and thankful for his friendship, but I'm also cognizant of the fact that he's going to be doing great things for the state hospital there. So with this, let me read the citation. In 2007, there was no dedicated 911 center in Warren County. Emergency services were dispatched from the Warren County Sheriff's Office. Todd Lake was entrusted with the project management of separating the 911 center in its new location. Shortly thereafter, the 911 center, emergency management, hazmat, and emergency medical services were combined under Director Lake's guidance to become the Warren County Department of Public Safety that we know today. During Director Lake's years with the county, Todd has served on the executive board of the Warren County Local Emergency Planning Committee, the chairman of the 10-county Northwest Pennsylvania 911 Consortium, and has chaired its executive board, and serves as a deputy coroner of Warren County. He is president of the Keystone Emergency Management Association, serves on the Pennsylvania State 911 Advisory Board, and more. Director Lake has achieved Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency Professional Certification, FEMA Advanced Professional Development Certification, Pennsylvania Department of Health Emergency Medical Technician status, APCO Basic Telecommunicator, PEMA 911 Supervisor Certification, National Academy of Emergency Dispatch EMD Certification, Pennsylvania Department of Health Vehicle Rescue Technician Certification, Radiological Response Officer Certification, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children CEO Certified, and National Incident Management System ICS System 700, 800, 100, 200, 300, and 400 certified.
You can breathe now.
Director Lake, a lifelong resident of Warren County and a husband and father of 2, also serves the community as a councilman in Youngsville Borough, is past chairman of pastoral parish relations for the Youngsville Evangelical United Methodist Church, is a past president and current member of the Youngsville Volunteer Fire Department, past treasurer of the Warren County Fire School, committee member of the Boy Scouts of America Venturing Crew 73, and District Improvement and Safety Committee member of the Warren County School District. It's with deep gratitude that the County Commissioners would like to thank Director Todd Lake for his vision for the Department of Public Safety and his diligence as an employee, counselor, and friend. We have every confidence that he will continue to positively affect the citizens of Warren County and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in his future endeavors, and wish him only the best. Thank you, Mr. Lake. You want to say anything?
The only thing I'd like to say is I appreciate everything, all the help that I've gotten over the years. This wouldn't have ever happened without all of the help from Pina, my wife, my kids, and McCorrison, and just everyone. I feel a lot of gratitude. I was able to thank past Commissioner Bauer the other day, and I'd hope you'd put the gratitude onto your father, thanking him, and thank you to past Commissioner Bortz for giving me this chance. And a big thank you goes out to Sheriff Claycamp for hiring me as a 911 dispatcher back in many years ago, 02 I think. So, like I said, without the team of the personnel here, my staff that had at the 911 center, top notch, all about the safety of the people of Warren County. I appreciate everything. I appreciate all the good articles that were from the Warren Times Observer, everything. Over these years, it's been a phenomenal job, and I'm sure Mr. McCorrison is going to do a phenomenal job for Warren County. So, thank you.
Thank you. Public comment? Mr. Scully.
I'm Joe Scully from Glade Township. For the past 11 years, I've had the privilege of working with Todd Lake. People don't realize in Warren County what he has done at the 911 center in the different townships and the cooperation. I have yet, over my time, experience with him in the council of government, plus town, what he does at the 911 center. People don't realize what he has done to shape up the 911 center in Warren County. We should stand for Mr. Todd Lake, because we're going to, I hope his successor can do as good a job as he has done since he's been the director. And I'd like to thank him on behalf of Glade Township, and the Council of Government for the job you've done, Todd.
Thank you again, Todd. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda, the minutes from December 12th and the 19th, the fiscal report, and the citation as given.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Any other public comment? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. First thing on the agenda is Resolution 3123, and that is a resolution appointing Ken McCorrison as Public Safety Director. This is important because the county has implemented a countywide centralized communications center, and we need to appoint the director of that. Currently on paper it is Todd Lake, and we need to change that. The resolution is before you. I don't think it needs any explanation except to say that it supersedes Resolution 2886 that appointed Mr. Lake as the director. I hear a motion to approve it.
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Just like to quickly say thank Todd Lake for his work. I will always remember 911 as the house that Todd Lake built, and every time I go there, I think about the admirable job that you've done, and Warren County has a great debt to due to your efforts. So thank you very much. And then just to say that I think Ken's going to do a phenomenal job. He certainly has big shoes to fill, but from everything that we've seen over the past couple of years, he's incredibly motivated, very strong, very smart, very straightforward, and that's the kind of person you want in 911. So very excited for this.
I would like to say thank you, Todd, for your service to our county for so many years. And you have done a great job, and we all appreciate it. And I wish you the best of luck in your new career. I know you'll do a great job there, too. Thank you. And Ken, of course, you'll do a great job, too. Welcome.
Motion is made and seconded to approve Resolution 3123, appointing Kenneth McCorrison as Public Safety Director. If there's no other comment or public comment, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Mr. McCorrison, would you please come forward? You want to swear or affirm? Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Kenneth McCorrison,
I, Kenneth McCorrison,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
as Warren County Warren County Director of Public Safety with fidelity.
as Warren County Director of Public Safety with fidelity.
Congratulations. Thank you. Last thing I wanted to say in this regard is that a few months ago there was some incident going on in the county, and I know that Todd was at minimum out of the county, if not out of the state. But he contacted me and said, my deputies are there, they're fine, I've got competent deputies, so I'm just going to continue what I'm doing. If things get bad, I'll start turning back your way. And that was a moment when I realized that is your legacy, Todd. That the Department of Public Safety has gotten to the level where you don't need to, shall we say, micromanage, and you know that your deputies are competent and in control. So I view Mr. McCorrison's appointment and the continuation of the 911 Center and EMA office as we know it as part of your legacy. Thank you very much for it. As for Mr. McCorrison, I have found him to be one of the most winsome, relational, equitable, and able employees that the county has. I call him my finisher because when we throw a big project on him, like the CAD system or to some extent the Motorola radio project, he is able to bird dog it to completion. So we are very pleased that, Todd, you've set up such an excellent system, and that, Ken, you're going to be able to manage it with such competency. We're looking forward to working with you. Thank you. Anything else that needs to be said? You want a good picture? All right. With the commissioners and the Todd, Ken, would you come up? Dan, would you take a picture? How about you two in the middle?
I can stand in the back. You guys on either side? I'm tall enough. I take up too much space as it is. I'm a handshake. Close enough. Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, come on, Josh, front page.
Nice one. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you. Much appreciated.
I gotta go to work. I need to keep my other job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Next on the agenda, Resolution 3124, authorizing the issuance of the tax anticipation note for 2019. Would the fiscal director remind us of what the request is?
Yeah, the $3.4 million is, you'll be signing all those documents later this afternoon, probably within the hour, from bond counsel or from the TAN counsel. That's just the normal standard. The agreement that's in there is the same cover of the same agreement that you've signed before, with the binder with like 25 different tabs. So that's just the normal standard front page, one page of it for the resolution.
Very good, thank you. Please note, or let the meeting minutes reflect, that this resolution authorizes up to $3.4 million. We had put out the bid for 4.5, but found that we actually cannot accept a TAN of that large a size.
Yeah, there was a previously there's a formula in the part of the documentation you put together, and there was an error in it last year. I don't know about previous years, so it just made that number higher. Historically, the county's never used more than 3.4, 3.5. In the last 5 years, I think it's between 2.9 and 3.5. So the line is more closely to reality anyway. So that's why the discrepancy.
Very good. And should we need anything beyond that, we can either take out separate financing or lend ourselves inter-fund transfers.
You could, sure.
Very good. I hear a motion to approve the resolution 3124 for the TAN.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion from the board. Public comment. All those in favor of the resolution before us, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next, Resolution 3125, authorizing Warren County to join Key Bank. This is moved from a charge card to a credit card, correct?
It's basically just like if you have a personal card with rewards points. It's similar to that, but for a much larger scale. We're going to consolidate the numerous card or programs we have currently into one, and we'll be able to pay a lot more via credit card instead of manual checks, and we'll be able to receive money back annually on that.
Very good.
It's going to be at least, the initial estimate from the bank was between $30,000 and $50,000 a year, but I think it'll probably be more than that initial range because there's a lot of other vendors out there that take it that they weren't able to capture in their first run through.
We'll be maintaining the same process of approving payments, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't change anything.
Okay.
Very good. The resolution before us is that the county will join Key to Purchase program with Key Bank, and that we authorize Director of Finance and Administration to set it up. Any questions? Did we motion on this yet?
No.
No. I would ask for a motion to approve the
So
resolution.
I'll second.
Motion is made and seconded. Further discussion? Public comment? All those in favor of Resolution 3125, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Children and Youth Fee Schedule. Would Meredith Ketchum please describe what this is?
It is the fee schedule for services that can be rendered to the community when they're not involved with children and youth services. So there's a fee for testimony if you need to subpoena a There's a fee for home evaluations, for home safety, or for a home tech, for supervised visitation, and then for adoption home studies. And the fees for the subpoena, the home evaluations, and the supervised visitation are all based off of caseworker salaries, and Fiscal came up with those fees. The adoption home study fee is in line with the statewide adoption network fee for a home evaluation. So if you need a caseworker to come and testify at a custody hearing and the case is not open with children and youth, in order for us to go and testify, we have an hourly fee. The check is written to the commissioners because the caseworker is still working, but then you're reimbursed for our time spent for a non-CYS case. Home evaluations will go out if custody court or if the judge assigns us to go out and do a home or a safety check. There's a fee if the family's not involved with children and youth for us to send the caseworker out and then write up a comprehensive home evaluation report to return to the court. And then supervised visitation if custody court or one of the judges assigns us to supervised visitation. We have a caseworker or a case aide who will supervise the visitation and then write a report to court.
Are these new? Have they increased?
They've increased because of the increase in salary from negotiations for the union in July. So they've increased a little bit. The supervised visitation one actually decreased because that one had been based off of caseworker salary. But in reality, our case aides supervise our visitation, so we would send a case aide to supervise visitation for the community as well. So that one did decrease.
Any questions?
Thank you, Meredith.
Can I please have a motion to approve Resolution 3126?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion from the board. Public comment. Please note that the fee schedule is here before us. I won't belabor the point. If there's nothing further, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So everyone is aware, the Early Intervention Program Phase 1 happened over the course of the beginning of this year. We adopted the Phase 1 audit in the summer, and now we are looking to apply for a Phase 2 of the Early Intervention Program. This would allow us to apply for state match in order to follow through on the recommendations made in the Early Intervention Program proposal. We have budgeted $20,000 in the 2019 budget as a match to such a grant, and so today we are asking to authorize the Early Intervention Program Phase 2 with Resolution 3127. Do I hear a motion to approve it?
Make a motion to approve Resolution 3127.
Do I hear a second? Second. Second. Discussion.
What is the grant to cover?
primarily the Tyler Technologies.
A financial software server and the server, and primarily those fees, which I've been working with both our Susquehanna and our external auditors relative to that specialized software, and have down to quote number 7. I pushed back on them on the pricing, so it's come a long way. The Treasurer's Office has reviewed it, as well as my finance folks. And we're looking excited. I've talked to a few other counties as well. We really like, but this is specifically for the submitting the grant. And Lori Dunlop and I are finalizing that over the next few weeks.
What is your estimated total cost of the software?
With this server, about $100,000.
Yeah. So we're putting up a $20,000 match in order to get the total.
It could be less, but that's the conservative. Put it in 20.
An estimated $20,000 in order to get the $100,000 worth of software and equipment.
Right.
Yeah. And the rest of the money is.
And there could be some Susquehanna trying to get a quote from them for some support on the chart of accounts, because we're talking about completely redeveloping the entire county software structure. So that's going to be quite a fun project in 2019.
And this is with the understanding that everybody that's looked at the software that we currently have, and which is AccuFund, feels pretty confident that it is subpar and that we need to make an upgrade in order
That's
to
been consistent.
properly manage finances within the county, and that this will be a major upgrade in the software systems and our ability to generate reports and then monitor finances and be critical of our financial situation.
Yes, that's been a consistent from everyone I've interacted with on it.
Yeah. And we wouldn't have the $80,000 grant that will pay for the remainder if we hadn't engaged in the EIP process and through DCED.
Maybe as much as 180, actually.
Well, I mean, in this particular case, I'm just saying that for this software upgrade, which we've been trying to figure out a way to finance for quite a while, in this case, we're only going to pay, 1/5 of the cost of the upgrade due to being involved in this program.
I see it a little differently. I don't know as our software is in as rough a shape as it's being promoted. I know that Clarion County uses AccuFund quite successfully. There are a lot of other modules available that we could pursue purchasing for our AccuFund system that I think would come in at a great cost savings to our county. Just because there's a grant available doesn't always mean we should be pursuing these grants. It is taxpayers' dollars. That's all I have to say.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Public comment. Very good. The motion before us is to approve Resolution 3127 for the EIP Phase 2 grant application. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Likewise.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-1. Next is the Tyler Technologies License and Service Agreement, which is a compendium to the EIP application. As the previous discussion basically outlined the need for this, I will motion to approve the license and service agreement before us.
I'll second.
Motion is made and seconded. Discussion from the board. Commissioner Eggleston?
It's already been stated.
Commissioner Morrison?
Nothing.
Any public comment? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-1. Appointment to the Redevelopment Task Force. I have a letter here from, I apologize. I was looking at the wrong one. From Dan Glotz, requesting that we appoint Phil Gilbert to take the place of Pam Matvey for the 5-year term of Warren County on the Warren County Redevelopment Authority. 5-year term would begin January 1st, 2019 and expire on December 31st, 2023. Do I hear a motion to approve this appointment?
I'll make the motion to approve Phil Gilbert to the Redevelopment Authority.
Second? I will second. Discussion from the board. Commissioner Eggleston?
Just like to thank Pam for her work for the county, coming to the Redevelopment Authority board meetings, which are prior to her start of work every day, and it's sad to see you go. And Mr. Gilbert's involved both as a city council member and also on the Tax Claim Bureau. I think that in both cases it's important for him to be involved in this group, just as both of those play into the Redevelopment Authority at the county level. So it's a good appointment.
I totally disagree with my counterpart's analysis of this. I believe that it's a direct conflict of interest to have Mr. Gilbert in this role because of his tax claim director duties and because he's a city councilman.
Okay. Further discussion? For my part, I think that the definition of conflict of interest has to do with a financial one, and I don't see how Mr. Gilbert could possibly personally benefit financially from serving on this board.
I think it's important to note
He's the tax claim director.
It's important to note too that the city has its own RDA, so he would not be functioning as a city council member making decisions on city properties. He'll only be making decisions on properties outside of the city. So I don't know that the city council element would be a conflict of interest, and although the tax claim director certainly deals with delinquent properties, like properties that are delinquent with taxes, these are dealing with blighted properties, and
That may face tax sale. Yes.
Right, but he cannot personally financially benefit.
I'm not saying he can, but as a director in the county office, in the tax claim office, I believe it is a conflict. But I'm not going to debate this any further. That's my feelings.
Okay. Well, I don't see legally how we could consider that conflict of interest, so unless there's any comment from the board, I'll open it up to public discussion. Mr. Scully?
First of all, I want to thank Pam. I've served on the RDA board with Pam. You people don't realize the value of Pam to the county officers. That's just a personal opinion. I have a little problem with Mr. Gilbert to the fact that he is an elected city councilman. And when I was appointed to the board, I did not hold a supervisor's position. And I was told that anybody on the RDA cannot be a supervisor in my case or hold a political office. Mr. Gilbert does an expert job, but when the rules were set, they said you couldn't hold a political office. I know that tax claim job is not a political job as far as running for it, but Mr. Gilbert does represent the city as a city councilman, and I am sure that when the RDA goes over properties, that possibly in the one on Madison Avenue, is that a conflict of interest that he dealt with? So you better think it over, that he holds an elected official's job in the city of Warren. Will that affect his response on the RDA for the county? That's all I have to say.
I'd be willing to make a motion to table this until the next meeting in order to review just the legal concerns of a conflict of interest on this appointment.
Motion made to table. May I hear a second? Fine, I'll second. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Likewise.
Aye.
All right, motion carries to table to the next meeting. At that time, we will have legal counsel review and give us an opinion. We have two more appointments. This letter from Carl Brown, the Executive Secretary, I believe the Conservation District, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Sent me this letter asking that we appoint David Manning as Farming Director to the Conservation District with the term expiring on December 31st, 2022, and that we reappoint Commissioner Cindy Morrison as Commissioner Representative until December 31st, 2019. I hear a motion to approve these two appointments.
I'll make that motion.
Hear a second.
I don't know if I should second that.
Will you financially benefit from it?
Absolutely not.
Then you can second it.
I'll second that.
Discussion from the board. Public comment. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. 2019 certification of funds. Every year we pass certification of funds regarding clean and green, correct? Yes.
Yep.
Very standard thing. I move to approve the 2019 certification of funds.
So moved.
Commissioner Morrison made the motion. I seconded. Discussion from the board. Public comment. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And finally, we come to the 2019 budget. A consolidated version is in your packet. I would like to read the budget narrative. Warren County's budget is a tool for county administration that presents our best estimation of anticipated revenues and expected expenditures for the coming year for the operation of county government. As such, it is a plan which evolves as needs and funding sources change throughout the year. Since budgets are not perfect predictions, and because the county cannot foresee every possible event that may impact revenues or expenditures, contingencies must be built into the budget based on historical trends and past experience.
Annual budgets are not designed to predict or cover extraordinary situations which may have a major impact on county finances. A few highlights. First of all, tax revenues in this budget are based on the same property tax rate as 2018, so taxes are not increasing. Resources are provided to the Tax Assessment Department to ensure all real estate is fairly assessed. The county will attempt, whenever possible, to generate more grant revenue. County bond debt was extinguished in 2018. Budget and financial processes will attempt to identify, review, and eliminate inefficiencies and waste whenever possible. The county is moving to an outside payroll vendor, which will improve new hire onboarding, improve time off tracking, reduce payroll errors, and improve staff efficiencies. The county is moving to a risk aggregate health insurance vendor, which will result in improved cash flow smoothing, reduced county liability, strengthened self-funded reserves, and improved communication and services with both internal human resources and finance staff and all county employees. And finally, the county is in a process of acquiring new financial software to improve financial tracking, reporting, and improve staff efficiencies. Most of these costs will be reimbursed by the state of Pennsylvania, we anticipate. The budget has been on display for the last 21 days, I believe. The commissioners have had ample time to review it. I would ask for a motion to approve the 2019 budget.
Make a motion to approve the 2019 budget as presented.
I will second. Discussion, Commissioner Eggleston.
I'm just happy to be able to, for the second year, pass a budget that has no tax increases and that fully funds our services. We've been able to make some investments in our employees and equipment, much of which has been deferred due to grant funding and a number of other things. Especially when you look at the USDA grants related to the radio project and some of the other things. So I think that this is the fairest and most accurate and well put together budget that we've had, and I think it sets a good first step to really planning for the future for the county.
Commissioner Morrison.
Okay. Well, as we all know, our county's population is in decline. I believe our county has the second oldest population in the state. When the county, the school district, or the municipalities raises your taxes, your property taxes, potentially another person's name is added to the delinquent tax sale list. There have been nearly 1,000 properties listed in the newspaper for the last several years. I feel a responsibility to do whatever I can to hold the line on spending, to help those who can least afford to pay their tax bill. With this budget, the taxpayers are being handed a 1 mil tax increase for 2019. Although my fellow commissioners, as they have just stated, say that's not the case. But let me explain. The millage rate for 2018 was set at 20.5 mils, with one additional mill being collected as a dedicated bond debt for a total combined millage rate of 21.5 mils. This month, as was stated by Commissioner Kefferlin, the bond debt was paid in full, therefore eliminating the need to collect that 1 mil of dedicated bond debt. If there is no tax increase, the millage rate for 2019 should remain at 20.5 mils. The 2019 budget is based upon using 21.5 mils, not 20.5 mils, hence the tax increase. It's very simple math. This dedicated 1 mil of bond debt tax is listed separately on your tax bill, and you can see it there. It's listed that way on purpose, so the taxpayers know this is a debt to them. It's no different than having a mortgage and paying it off, and you're debt-free. This is a 1 mil tax increase, no matter how it's being spun. At the public meeting where I mentioned to my fellow commissioners my proposal for this budget, I expressed my desire to work with them on eliminating budget items to eliminate wasteful spending. They mentioned they were happy with the budget the way it was proposed, yet went on to tell me I should provide cuts, which I did provide cuts during that meeting. I would have welcomed working together with them to provide a better outcome for this budget. As the Susquehanna group advised us to tighten our belts, or down the road, we would be in financial ruin, I believe we should take their advice. The picture they painted for us was quite bleak. I will end on a positive note. I am grateful to my fellow commissioners that they have finally listened to my constant complaints of continuing to contract with the Long and Nyquist lobbyists. After spending $130,000 plus of the taxpayers' money over the last 2+ years, the lobbyists have finally been eliminated from the county budget. In my opinion, the budget that we have in front of us today is just not sustainable.
Thank you. I have a couple quick questions. I'm just confused. I was wondering, I got my tax bill in 2018 and, paid it. 2019, I'm going to get a tax bill. Is that going to be the same dollar figure? Yes or no?
There is a dedicated bond debt that, if eliminated, your tax bill would have decreased. Had we based the budget on 20.5 mils, that is the answer to that question.
Right, but my tax bill in 2018 was $3,482 or something like that. In 2019, it will also be $3,482. Correct?
As I said, you can spin this any way you'd like.
Yes, you are.
That's a matter of perspective. But the point being is when you pay off a debt, and the taxpayers had this debt, now they should see a tax break, and we are not providing them this tax break.
Okay, and then Mr. Hearn, just yes or no question. Did you or did you not receive a list of cuts that would have equaled 1 mil in cuts from the budget that was presented by your office?
Receive.
From any of the commissioners, was there any proposal that equaled anything north of $400,000 in cuts?
No.
Well, of course not, because you wouldn't work together with me to see that that was done.
Commissioner Morrison, I'm happy to consider it if you can come up with a list of what we should cut.
Let's work together on that.
I looked at the budget. I don't see the place to cut. We have been anticipating this millage for the last couple of years, looking forward to the day that the bond debt would come off. We've given raises based on it. We've committed to capital expenditures based on it. There is nothing more I can see to cut without starting to cut staff or essential services. So if you have a list of things, I'm happy to entertain it. No one is shutting you out from that. But
Okay, can I comment on that?
please. There's the
I would
list,
reduce the capital budget lines. I believe they're overinflated.
which is 190.
I would eliminate contingency. Having this line creates an ability to overspend. I would eliminate using the Erie Bank funds to balance this budget's shortfalls. I would eliminate hiring a marketing director. I would do more to eliminate the excessive overtime in county offices by using better time management procedures, along with scheduling adjusting. This Board of Commissioners, along with the Salary Board in 2018, has provided lavish wage hikes to several select employees. This has happened on top of across-the-board wage increases of at least 2%. I have been the only one to vote no on many of these individual pay raises. Knowing this has already taken place, but to eliminate the potential for additional raises, I would immediately initiate a hiring freeze along with a wage hike freeze. I would eliminate funding to the WCCBI. Once they open up their meetings, the taxpayers can then determine for themselves if the money is being put to good use with this agency. Our county could be debt-free right now, although that would be short-lived with the overloading of expenses soon to be realized within the 2020 county budget, such as a 10-year debt for the purchase of the Motorola radios that will be coming due in 2019. And yes, I voted for that. The ABM site improvement plan, based off of proposed energy savings, but will cost the taxpayers several $million over the next 15 years. These payments for ABM projects will be coming due in the 2020 budget. Counties are being mandated by the state to purchase new voting machines. Payments for these purchases will also take place in 2020. With these expenses in mind, and with potential of unknowns, expenses that will surely arise, what will be cut from the 2020 budget to avoid a significant tax increase in 2020? That's all I have to say, and you can debate this all you want, and you can ask the questions that you care to ask, but this is my stance on this, and I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about it. This is my point of view on the budget.
Thank you for your comments. For my part, I still think that this is a very responsible budget. We don't have a clear way to cut enough expenses to drop the millage rate. And even if we did, it would only be until 2020. So it would be purely a political ploy in order to garnish votes based on a stance that we could supposedly lower taxes. It would be a temporary Band-Aid at best, even if we could get $400 and some thousand in cuts. I think
Bad decisions have led to this.
That could be, and if it were, we're all implicated in it.
No.
There's no way we can turn back from it now. The only way that I could see to cut would be to do as you suggest and cut capital, which I think would be irresponsible given the level of decay going on in the county buildings and infrastructure, including but not limited to Motorola agreement because of our radio system, the roof on this part of the building. Well, frankly, we didn't put enough money into the facades and such for this building. Things are decaying around us, and it's irresponsible of us to play politics with the county budget. I view it as irresponsible. So the budget that's before us, I want to thank Mr. Hearn for putting it together. He did a fine job. And I want to thank again Commissioner Eggleston for spending some excellent time on with the treasurer, making the revenue budget the most accurate I think we have seen in many years. With that, I would ask if there's anything more from the commissioners before I open it up for public comment.
I just have a couple things. First, I'd like everybody to know that I watched a lot of Christmas movies leading up to this meeting to get myself in a very zen-like state because I knew the discussion we were going to have was going to be contentious. I'd also like to say that it took at least 5 or 10 minutes for you guys to talk before I said anything. I think I should get a pat on the
Red
back.
letter day.
Yeah, I should get a pat on the back for that. And finally, frankly, I'm glad that there are so many different things that Commissioner Morrison has brought up because it would take a half an hour for me to go through all of the things that she said that are factually inaccurate. But rather than bore everybody with that, I will simply say, number one, with the WCCBI and the funding, although Commissioner Morrison has said that repeatedly that her issue with them is the public meeting issue, I've always felt that there has to be some other reason because it seems very personal to me that the WCCBI needs to be defunded. I am opposed to that in this budget because I am grateful to them for the work that they have done on the Northern Pennsylvania Regional College and the PNC Bank redevelopment project, both of which have been done in an incredibly condensed schedule. The WCCBI was instrumental in bringing the Northern Pennsylvania Regional College to the County of Warren. It's the first major post-secondary investment by the state in Warren County in over 40 years. WCCBI did it. And in my opinion, We helped and other people helped, but the WCCBI and Jim Decker were instrumental in bringing that college here. We would not have it if it wasn't for Jim Decker and the WCCBI. I would not feel like it was right to cut their funding right after they basically made one of their greatest achievements, in my opinion, in their effort to build business and build commerce in Warren County. Second thing is that, as a part of the cuts that Commissioner Morrison has discussed, the whole idea of, forget that. Anyway, I guess I will transition to the other point, which is the whole idea of proposals. This job is complicated. There's complicated things related to it. It's true. There's a lot of stuff to go through. So it's very difficult to sit in any one meeting and say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z without reviewing information first. You would be a fool to do that. It's not hard to sit in a meeting and kind of fantasize about doing X, Y, and Z things with the budget or different departments. But in order for those things to happen efficiently and intelligently, there have to be proposals made and reviewed at length by multiple people, because otherwise you're going to miss something and you're going to break something that's not broken. And in the case of this budget, and in the case of the proposals that Commissioner Morrison is talking about, it's not hard, in my opinion, to go through this budget and say, I want to cut X, I want to cut Y, I want to cut Z, bring it to the table, have a written proposal, explain in that written proposal what all of those things, those cuts, why we want to make them, how you think that'll affect the system, and then have the other commissioners review those cuts as a part of a meaningful proposal in advance of the budget coming to the table. That would be the responsible thing to do. I have never, to this day, seen a written proposal on any of the things that Commissioner Morrison has discussed. She brought them up for the first time when we were on the verge of releasing the budget, a week before we were going to release the budget. That's after all of the work had already been done on it by myself and Eric Hearn and several other people. If there are major cuts that need to be made, and I'll tell you right now, if you're going to cut a mill, that's $490,000. That's $490,000, and guess what? You're going to cut into all these services. And you can say that there's a lot of fat. I'm more than willing to hear where that is. And then put a written proposal together. We will review it. We'll review it at a work session. We can go down line by line and discuss it. I'd be more than happy to. But like I said, the work has to be done. And during the course of this budget process, I sent dozens of emails with individual line items that needed to be cut in order to write the budget. And everybody looked at them, and everybody either okayed them or made a complaint about them, and then they were incorporated in what was done here. The notion that Commissioner Cafferel and I will prevent anyone from making a proposal related to cutting stuff out of this budget is just not factually accurate. And frankly, it would be good to have a public discussion about it. But I'm not going to, when someone says if they would work with me on it, what I hear is I wish the other two would do the work, make the proposal, and then I'll vote for it. That's what I hear. Do the work, and then put the proposal forward, and then we'll have an up or down vote on it. It's very simple. That's all I have.
I guess you've been ignoring the fact that I've proposed several cuts, sent several emails with my proposals, proposed it at a county meeting, and they are still ignored. That's all I have to say. This is far from political for me. This is all about the taxpayers and worrying about them. I took an oath on the day I was elected, and I answer to the taxpayers. I don't answer to my fellow commissioners.
Well, thankfully we have public meeting minutes to...
A good example of what I'm talking about, not that I want to belabor this, actually I do want to belabor it, but is the $60,000 related to Long Nyquist. If you looked at the budget that we looked at when we were about to release this, you would have seen that $60,000 had already been cut out of the budget. Because you didn't review it and didn't ask any questions of anybody, you proposed it, and it was already gone. And
Right.
that's how lean the budget is.
No, I knew that. I was fully aware of that.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't mean that I couldn't include that I wanted it cut. I wanted to make sure it was stayed cut.
All I'm saying is if you want to get to 490,000, it's going to take a lot. So I would just say, please, go through the budget, pick those items out, have a number attached to them, and then send that proposal to us, and then we'll look at it.
And I think it's important to note that we're not passing the millage rate here, we're passing the budget. So if we need to reopen the budget because you come back with a proposal that makes sense, we can do that.
Yep.
Very good. Any public comment? Mr. Scully.
I hate to comment, gentlemen, but
Thank
first of
you.
all, I'm a little disappointed in your thing with A and B. I was always taught you have a leak, you fix the leak before you remodel your bedroom, but I must be wrong. I feel the roof needs fixed, and that's all I'm going to say on that. But I want to ask all three of you. You might think it's a silly question. Do you all have a dictionary?
On my phone?
Or whatever you have, I know you're a technical person. I'd like you to look it up, what the definition of proper teamwork. You all have 3 offices downstairs, each has their own. And as you know, I'm one of the few township supervisors that you see more than anything in the courthouse, mainly for your meetings and other things that I have investigated on. I cannot recall, except for a meeting day, commissioner's meeting day, or a work session, that all 3 of you were there. I compliment the 2 gentlemen on the board. I can get a hold of you, and you're usually in your offices when I come. Commissioner McCorrison, emails are wonderful, but sometimes if you walk over to either one of the other 2 commissioners' office and sat down and discussed things, they may get a little more straightened out. I really want you, in your next year, to look up that silly definition of teamwork. Because you have no teamwork. You seem to, one says she emailed, one says that you didn't get the email. Well, maybe if you were all in your offices for a few hours a day, you would see that you may get a few things settled. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Mr. Scully. Any other public comment?
Mark?
Any other public comment?
I do.
Mr. Morrison.
On the millage. Now, in 2018, was the millage, excluding the bond debt, 20.5 mils?
Yes.
Okay. In 2019, excluding the bond debt, will the mill be 21.5 mil?
The mills will be, the total mills will be the same both years.
So it'll be 20.5 mils.
General millage will be 20.5, and in 2018,
Right.
in 2019, the general millage will be 21.5.
So it's gone up 1 mil.
No, as in fact, you can see if you could do the very simple math,
Okay.
the 1 mil of bond debt is being converted over to general millage. Therefore, the total is 21.5 in 2018, 21.5 in 2019.
Yeah, why would it be
It's
converted?
important to note that the bond debt isn't some magic thing where the money goes down a tube and disappears. It's an expense.
Yes, it is.
It's an expense that the county incurs.
So it goes on for infinity.
For years, the bond debt paid for restoration of this courthouse, okay? And now we're going to engage in a restoration of the courthouse that's needed for HVAC and a number of other things. That money isn't, the money's spoken for. Like, so the bond debt that was previously used for the courthouse and all the other stuff related to the courthouse is now going to be reallocated for other stuff related to the courthouse. Taxpayers were paying for an expense that the county incurred. It's going to continue to pay for an expense that the county is incurring. The notion that it should disappear is just not factually accurate. All 3 of us would love to cut taxes. I would love to cut taxes. I really would. And when we first talked about the bond debt getting paid off, that was one of the goals, was try to figure out a way to reduce the tax burden on the taxpayers. The problem is, and that's the problem with this job, is that reality doesn't work out the way you'd like it to. And there are expenses that have to be incurred. And my point with this is, okay, if you're going to eliminate the bond debt, dial it to zero and then cut taxes, then make a proposal that does that. We have not seen a proposal that does that. So trying to say that it's our fault or that we're not interested in cutting taxes is not fair, because that's not true. And the person who wants to make the recommendation to cut taxes needs to put a serious proposal that everybody can read and look at and see and vote on. We have no proposal, because what happens is we come to this meeting, and this is where the work's done, is in the 5 seconds that we're having a conversation, someone says, we could have had a tax cut, but my fellow commissioners, they won't listen to me.
There's been no proposals proposed by either one of you for any tax cuts.
So then, in that case, there have been no proposals at all for any tax cuts.
I have suggested several line items be cut.
Suggesting and proposing are two different things.
I didn't know we voted on individual proposals. We're voting on the county budget.
We've said this multiple times.
No, we haven't.
Very good. Any other public comment? Final comments from the board. The chief clerk ensure that the budget was moved and seconded, and the motion was to approve the 2019 budget.
Correct.
That's before us. Very good. Hearing no other comments, I'll call the question by roll call vote. Commissioner Eggleston, aye or nay?
Yay.
Commissioner Morrison?
Nay.
And I am a yay. Motion carries. 2019 budget passes. Personnel transaction report. On the 17th, the county hired Andrew Johnson as a part-time sheriff's deputy at a rate of $16.50 an hour. Jason Wooden, also a part-time sheriff's deputy at the same rate. Stacy Gross, tax claim class commissioner, administrative assistant at $11.08. All those were on the 17th. Also on the 17th, Ken McCorrison was promoted to director of public safety at a rate of $57,730, and Todd Lake, as we know, resigned from his position. Do I hear a motion to ratify the personnel transaction report?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second? I will second. Discussion?
I'm abstaining from voting on this, and this is my reason why. As a commissioner, I feel that I would like to have more oversight on who's hired as employees of the county. And I've not been included in any of those discussions. I support Ken McCorrison's promotion. However, I would have been interested in pursuing a wide net for applications. With that said, you probably are the most qualified for the position. But we don't know that because we didn't seek out other applicants. On the other hand, with other hires that we have for the county, the commissioners are just not being included, or at least I know that I'm not. And I would like to have more involvement in those decisions.
Thank you for your statement. As Mr. Hearn is the Director of Human Resources, I'm sure he will take that into account and include all of us more in the future. All right, any public comment? All those in favor of the motion to approve the personnel and transaction report as stated by me, with the minor adjustment of striking the word acting and replacing to be determined with $57,730. Please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention?
Aye.
Motion carries. Personnel transaction report is ratified. I don't see anything else on the agenda. Is there any commissioner comments? Last chance for public comment. I motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.